Hello everyone and welcome to Campus Channel. I'm here with Grenoble École de Management and we're going to be talking about the International BBA. In order to talk about it, I have the pleasure to welcome the director of the program, Nancy Blanche Locatelli. She's here to answer all my questions, but first we're going to start with the pitch. The pitch, Nancy, is a 60-second talk in which you will tell me roughly everything I need to know about the International BBA. Are you ready?
I am.
Then I'm listening.
The International BBA at Grenoble École de Management, or GEM, is taught 100% in English. Now, stay with me till the end of the video. If you can understand this much, you can join the programme. And we also attract over 50 different nationalities each year. So we've moved from a 3-year Bachelor in International Business to a 4-year International BBA to give the students a better learning experience. So not only inside the classroom, but also when it comes to work experience within companies, international exchanges. We've also increased our catalogue of specialisations in the 4th year, and perhaps the most exciting change is the 6-month internship at the end of the programme, which goes hand in hand with the research project, which allows students to springboard into an MSc or into their chosen career as graduates.
All right, but first they will need to integrate, to apply, and that's what we're going to see through the admissions. So Nancy, who can apply and how?
Okay, so anyone with the equivalent of a high school diploma, so French baccalaureate or A-levels or Abitur or International Baccalaureate is welcome on the International BBA at GEM. So for students doing the French baccalaureate, they need to go through Parcoursup, obviously, and the Concours Sésame, so the entrance exam Sésame. And for international students, they can apply directly to us. So they just need to go onto our website. The programme is open to students of all backgrounds. So that is to say, any general baccalaureate in France or any A-levels, no particular specialisation, although perhaps...
Not even mathematics?
Not necessarily, no, not necessarily. Economics, geopolitics, English, obviously, very important.
All right, like you mentioned, English is the language, the official language of the BBA.
Mm-hmm.
How good at French do a foreign student needs to be? Like you said, 50 different nationalities. Do they need to speak French for their daily life?
Okay, it's good if they speak French to buy a baguette or to buy a coffee.
Escargot.
Yeah, but it's not necessary to join the programme. In fact, for international students, we have French classes from beginner's level, so you don't really have to be able to string 2 words together to join the programme in French.
And I'm sure you know the next question is, and how good at English do I need to be? For example, like you said, if I can understand this interview, I'm good enough?
I'd say so, yes, with my northern British accent. So we're looking for students who have a B1 minimum. B2 is great, anything higher than a B2 is even better. So for students who are perhaps hesitating now, I'd like to do a programme in English, but I'm not sure if I have the level. I would say go for it, try the concours. There are several months between now and the 15th of April, which is the date of the written test for the Concours Sésame, and even a little bit longer for the orals.
All right, and will they learn English as well through the program? Because like you said, it's B1, B2, but is there a way to improve my English as well? Because I don't need to be bilingual straight, so the program will help me as well becoming bilingual?
Well, you don't need to be bilingual, but you definitely need to have that hunger to work and study in English. So I would say between now and then, obviously, work on your English. My top tip for students is, obviously, people are watching Netflix in English, films in English with subtitles, etc. My top tip is to download, get an app on your phone and listen to the radio, because by listening to the radio on the metro, on the train, on the bus to school, your ears are working and not your eyes, so you're listening more to the English, so you'll pick up the accents. It'll also help you with your baccalaureate, with your geopolitics, your economics, everything. It will help you to listen more to current affairs in the English language. There will be like an intensive English course at the start of the BBA in September, but it's not that alone, which will help the students. That will just be the last push before joining the programme. So it really is up to them to work on their English between now and then. But like I say, it's doable.
All right. The BBC, should they listen to the BBC?
The BBC, yes, that's a great one.
I'm sure it is. And one last thing, you mentioned do not hesitate. I mean, if you hesitate, just try and you will see for yourself. Maybe some of the students are stopped because of the financial aspect. Do you offer any help regarding the financial aspect for those who struggle?
Yes, we do offer financial assistance to students. It depends on the student's background, for example. So what I suggest is that students contact us or parents contact us directly, so we can orient you in the right direction for the support you're eligible for.
All right, so now we know everything about the admissions, how to improve your English from now and the test. And it's time for the first stop with the clichés. The clichés are about preconceptions we might have had regarding, I don't know, Grenoble, the city, or maybe it could be a BBA, or like, going to school right after the baccalaureate. Which one would be to you? Which cliché do you want to, that comes to your mind, sorry?
Can I say two?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I will allow you to say
right.
two, obviously.
So the first cliché, and it's perhaps for more aimed at parents, because I see a lot of parents when I'm doing student fairs. And in our day, because I put myself at their age, in our day, in France, it was either classe préparatoire and then a grande école, or university. And there are a lot more options around these days, and a BBA is perfect for students who want to get an international experience early on, or want to put their foot inside a company earlier on, rather than waiting to have an equivalent of a Bac plus 2, for example.
All right, so for you, the difference between classe prépa and the international BBA, what is it, the pedagogy, the kind of student you are?
Well, the pedagogy is different. At GEM in particular, we have a lot of interactive classes, so flipped classrooms is very common. So the students aren't just there taking notes, or they're not there sitting in an auditorium. Our class sizes are really small, so usually between 30-35 students in the class, no big amphitheatres. So that pushes students, they have to contribute in the classroom. So that's very different to classe préparatoire. And perhaps my second cliché would be on Grenoble itself, because we don't have a particularly good reputation. Perhaps a small town in the middle of nowhere or in the middle of the mountains. Well, yet the cliché, there are the mountains, which are our advantage really if you like skiing or sports. But Grenoble's a good-sized city, I think, for students moving away for the first time. It's a reasonably priced city, so just to give you an idea of the price of accommodation, you can rent a room in a shared house for about €350 per month, and have a studio on your own for 500, so it's a lot cheaper than other cities. Yeah. A tram and a bus pass cost €15 a month, that's all. And it's actually, paradoxically, the flattest city in Europe, so you can really walk anywhere or hire a bike.
You mentioned mountains. Does it help the student life as well? Does it help the student life as well?
Well,
student association, do they?
I would say, yeah, okay, so we have a big student association. I think it's our biggest association, CLICHÉS, which is the ski association. So every year in March, the school doesn't close, but the students don't have class for a full week and they can go skiing in the mountains. That's great fun for them. But yeah, students can have class until 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, take the bus at 5 and be up in the mountains at 6.
All right, well, sounds like a good plan. So basically, it's a good city, and you don't need there's no need to go to classe prépa. Okay, you can go to international BBA. It's going to be as good, just different pedagogy. What's the pedagogy about? Let's see with the program. 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give one title for each year, what would it be?
The first year would be the fundamentals of business. The second year would be maybe introduction to companies, the business environment. The third year would be international. The fourth year would be specialization and research project.
All right. Lots of BBA are called international BBA.
Mm-hmm.
What makes this one unique?
What makes ours unique? Well, I think...
Probably a question you would ask during an interview for students.
Yes, okay. So we do attract over 50 different nationalities to the programme each intake. So for French students, you're not going to find yourself in a group of French students, basically. What we do is we split the students into classes of, like I said before, between 30 and 35 students, and we mix the nationalities. We mix the gender and the nationalities. So that helps English remain. It makes English the working language of the programme. Sometimes the Frenchies will slip into French, but that we tell them not to. But it really is this. You hear, I'm British. My colleague is German. We have Vietnamese. We have Chinese. We have Canadian. We have South African. We have British teachers from as many different nationalities as the students. So when I say international, I mean international. As soon as you walk through the door on the first day, you feel as if you're in an international environment. You mentioned the teachers. What's the main quality of the teachers? The main quality, I would say, on our programme, it's the attention towards the students, in the sense that the first year teachers are used to teaching students straight out of high school, and perhaps all the specifics that come with teaching some students who are only 17, so maybe the first time away from home, maybe living in a new country, and the students are attentive to work towards those student needs, not just the academic needs, but we do keep an eye on students.
Yeah, that was my next question, because you're still young when you go abroad. How do you help them accommodate? How do you keep an eye on them? How can you reassure some parents, now that they're reassured about the class paper? How do you reassure them about sending their little children away abroad? Okay,
so the students can have their first international experience in the first year in the form of an internship, the first and second year. So they really are young. If students and parents don't feel ready to go away in the first and second year, that's absolutely fine. The main international experience is in year 3, so the students are about 20 when they get to the international experience. And we accompany them. We have a department who is used to dealing with the Centre for International Affairs, and we're used to sending students away. We've been doing it for a long time. So we accompany them in their choice of universities, their choice of country. We accompany them in their choice of courses that they're going to take once they're away. They have a person of reference while they're away at GEM and at their exchange institution. So
no need to worry.
No, I mean, I think that's part of working in international business. It's this first step away from what is home and what we know. So it's important.
4th year's specialization?
4th year specialization in the first semester.
So I can specialize. What kind of specialization is that? Okay,
so we have 7 specializations. I probably won't go into them all of them. I'll go into perhaps some that make us stand out. The innovation and entrepreneurship is attractive for students who perhaps want to start their own companies. We also have a fashion and design and luxury management specialization. So that attracts people who want to work in generally the luxury field. Then we have a finance specialization, which is perhaps our most popular specialization, which obviously attracts students who want to earn lots of money and work in the field of finance.
Makes sense, makes perfect sense. Two last questions. What is a Bizlab?
A Bizlab, okay.
What's a Bizlab? I read that and I was like, what is it?
Okay, so we have 2 campuses in Grenoble. We have the main campus, and we also have a campus at GEM Labs. Okay, and at GEM Labs, which is just 2 tram stops away from our main campus, we have many different connected classrooms. So we have a connected supermarket, We have rooms where students can put themselves in real situations, real business situations. So that's the Bizlab, which is just down the road from the main campus.
All right, that makes sense. And one last question. Give me one reason why students should enjoy the BBA.
Why they shouldn't join the BBA? Why they shouldn't join the BBA in Grenoble, I would say because you prefer to leave France.
Because you prefer to live in France?
Leave France. Because you prefer to have an international experience outside France.
Oh, right. So if you don't want an international...
Because for me, that's the only thing that could be better.
All right, thank you for playing that game. Sometimes a picture speaks more than 1,000 words, and that's what we're going to discover through Who Am I? Who am I? 3 people I will introduce you to, and you will tell me which one, according to you, stands the most for Grenoble École de Management. So they're going to appear on the screen. The first one, it's going to be, I will start with Lisa from The Simpsons. So basically, if I had to sum her up, I would say she's intelligent and academically gifted. Mm-hmm. She has a she's passionate about social and environmental causes with a strong sense of justice and social responsibility. And she's got also an artistic sensibility. So I was thinking maybe she could be one of the students that you hire, that apply, and then that graduate from the BBA.
Okay.
The one in the middle, he's called Olivier Giroud. He is a French football player. He is from Grenoble. He was born in Grenoble. So when you live in Grenoble, maybe you can become like Olivier Giroud, part of the France national team. And so he's said to be a team player, and he's the all-time highest goal scorer. So he's also a competitor. And he hasn't been always appreciated, but he's a hard worker and a late bloomer. So maybe he needed to meet some of the teachers from Grenoble to help him. And the last one, so it's called International BBA. So it would be IBBA. So it could be Babi or Barbie. Right? What a nice pun, isn't it? And so Barbie, she often questions gender stereotypes and advocates for gender equality. And she aspires to create traditionally associated with men and seek to break down gender barriers. So maybe that could be one thing, one social cause that Grenoble defends. I don't know. So that would be my reasons. But you have yours. So normally you should pick one. Which one would it be?
I'm going to go with Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah,
right,
I'm going to go with Barbie. Pushing boundaries. It's the pushing boundaries. Going out of a comfort zone. I'm looking for students who will go outside their comfort zone, discover a new world like Barbie.
True, there's that.
Yeah, she discovered a new world. She dealt with difficult circumstances, wasn't always easy, and she got there in the end. So Barbie, I like it.
That would sum up the 4-year students at the International BBA. Thank you for playing the game. And now what do you do once you've graduated? Well, let's discover that through after. Before, after, can you be a part-time student, as in a student in alternance?
Okay, so the first 3 years are full-time, but we do have an alternance track, or a work-study track, as we say in English, in the 4th year.
All right.
So that's doable.
Before, after as well, what makes you a good program director for the BBA?
Gosh. I suppose English is my native language.
Which is quite convenient for an international BBA.
Yeah, I have a few years of teaching experience. And I think perhaps most of all, I moved away from my home country as an Erasmus student quite a long time ago now. So I know what it's like to live in another country and, well, like Barbie, really, go out of your comfort zone.
All right. Okay, I'm done with those questions. After is now, what kind of job or academic opportunity can one expect after obtaining the GEM International BBA? Okay,
well, that really depends on the specialisation chosen and perhaps where the student went on their year abroad or their semester abroad. So, as I mentioned before, the students who do the financial specialisation,
the one who wants money.
Yeah, so I'd like to say as well that often in that sector, companies take on students straight after their bachelor's degree. Not always necessary to do a master's degree in the finance sector. So
there are jobs right after.
Yeah, there are jobs right after, and I think people tend to forget that. So we have students who are financial analysts, maybe risk reporters, working in audit, working in big banks, small banks in France, generally abroad though. A student who does the marketing management specialisation would no doubt become a marketing manager, a communications manager, project manager of some sort. Somebody who would do the fashion design and luxury management, they tend to want to go into the big groups, Chanel, Dior, those sorts of companies.
But they can also pursue through academics.
They do carry on, and about 70% of our students do carry on. They do go on to do an MSc. I think partly because of the background that students come from. The parents are encouraging students to go on to do an MSc, which, as I said before, in certain sectors is not necessary, but
yes,
it's the done thing. And many of our students, some of them stay at GEM, but some of them go abroad. They will then, they wanted to stay in France for the first, the bachelor's degree, and then as they've had the international experience on exchange, they will either go back to their exchange university or back to the same country and continue with a master's degree.
How do you help your students develop their career as much as their personality? Because we're mentioning careers, you must have career centers, but you also have, like, they're young when they arrive. Do you help them, I don't know, develop as the man or the men or the women they should become, and I don't know, the qualities they have, what they want in life, what they want out of life?
Okay, so in the first year, first semester, we have a module which is called Personal and Professional Development, and I teach that.
All right, so you help them.
So I see the students when they come in year one, and I try to get them on track to producing a decent CV, a decent LinkedIn profile, etc. And I also get them to identify the skills that they've got already, because a lot of them come in with skills that they don't necessarily recognise when they join GEM. So my first job is to get them to identify what they're good at, get them to identify what they would like to do in the future, and identify the skills that they need to acquire to get to their goal. All right, so that's in the first semester of the first year already. Then obviously we have a coach centre, a careers centre. They organise a career. Last week we had a big careers fair with over 100 different companies present at GEM. Students can have individual appointments with careers advisors, so help them tweak their CVs, help them tweak their LinkedIn profile. So there really is this support. We also have a big alumni. We have almost 50,000 alumni.
I was going to ask you that. Do they belong to the GEM alumni network or just to the International BBA network?
No, they belong to the GEM alumni network as soon as they join GEM. They don't have to. We don't wait for them to graduate to become part of the alumni network. They have access to the alumni network as soon as they arrive with us, and we encourage students to develop their own network and to mingle in this international alumni network that we have.
So you're part of the family whenever you arrive.
Exactly.
All right, so time flies. We have 2 minutes left for extra time. Two minutes to tell us maybe something you haven't said already, or maybe you want to highlight something, or maybe there's one thing we need to remember about the International BBA that makes it unique, like we mentioned already. You tell me, what would be your conclusion?
Okay, so I think I'd just like to emphasise the English level, and if students do have this passion to work and study in English, to go for it. There is time between now and the start of the programme to work on your English. You know, I talked about the radio.
The BBC.
I talked about the radio. The other thing which is very important to me as well is work experience. Now, in the French system, students traditionally don't work, have a weekend job. I see it when students have a professional experience when they join our BBA or another, it gives them, they're a step ahead of other students. So this summer, after the baccalaureate or after your A-levels or after your high school diploma, if you can just pick up a part-time job, maybe in a restaurant, maybe in a cinema, maybe in a library, just anything, customer service, dealing with hierarchy, what's it like to have a boss, what's it like to get up in the morning, what's it like to be tired when you get in the evening. Just get into that work environment, because that will be something to put on your CV when you start my class next semester. And also it will make you more appealing to employers really this time next year when you're applying for internships.
All right, thank you for the tip. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much for
You're
answering
welcome.
all my questions. Like we said, if you want to learn about management, international business, foreign cultures and languages in an international learning environment, it's at Grenoble École de Management, GEM, the International BBA. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.